And we're back with more Modern Highlander. I didn't really expect to be doing more of this, but the deck keeps performing well, and the games keep being fun, so I'm going to keep doing it. Okay, so in this first game I have Spell Pierce, Mana Leak, which has game against most modern decks. I'm definitely not going to Spell Pierce the Serum Visions. Pick up a Lightning Bolt, leave land untapped in case we have some creature-based threat. We do in fact cop an Electromancer, but I'll use the Lightning Bolt on that since this is obviously a Storm list. And cast Brawl. Opponent goes Sleight of Hand, and then another Sleight of Hand, and fails to find a land. So they're now on 2 lands against a Brawl with Mana Leak and Spell Pierce backup. Opponent misses yet another land drop, and discards Past in Flames to hand size. I pick up Ulamog's Nullifier, which could be very good considering that this is a Past in Flames deck. They finally find their 3rd land. At this point, I decide I need to put more pressure on and decide to Snapcaster and Lightning Bolt. They attempt to remand, I'll Spell Pierce just to stifle what they're drawing and put my clock a bit faster. I find another land, which does let me Nullifier and Mana Leak in the same turn. They attempt to Brawl, I'll Mana Leak that. And now I cast Ashiok, basically purely just to turn on Ulamog's Nullifier. It doesn't really do much against this deck except accidentally exile win conditions. They put down an Electromancer and try to go off here with Manamorphose, but I have the Izzet Charm for the Electromancer. So if this survives, then we are pretty much stopping their Storm turn before it even starts. They go ahead and cast another Manamorphose into a Brawl, but now we have Ulamog's Nullifier online. So after a number of rituals, they go Past in Flames. We Nullify that, and Brawl loots and finds Murderous Cut. They go Peer Through Depths, perhaps looking to continue the Storm turn, but we have thankfully drawn Murderous Cut to kill the Brawl. And we get another hardcast Metamorphose into Sleight of Hand into nothing. And with that, we have 4 damage on board, bringing them, or rather 5, bringing them to 1 with a Far and Away. So in response to the Desperate Ravings, we'll make them sack their Electromancer. And I think that might be the end of the game. On to game 2 of this series. A little bit of a sketchy hand here. We have Go for the Throat for any cost reducer, and eventually Away for a further cost reducer, as well as Negate. So I think this should be fine. I'm going to go ahead and put down the Thing in the Ice, because it looks like I'm going to be casting definitely 4 spells this game, so it seems like a good thing to get down fast. And I'm going to go ahead and go for the Throat the Brawl rather than trying to develop, since leaving one of those on board is just really a bad idea. And they play an Electromancer, unfortunately, and I do not draw another land, but I do have Dimir Charm, so I'm just going to keep stringing together these removal spells and sitting on these 2 lands. Thankfully my opponent also only has 2 lands, so I take this time to play down Talisman of Progress. Okay, so now I'm going to play Ashiok just to put some pressure on them. They've remand it, and here's where things go bad. I didn't expect them to be able to storm off this turn, but I was very wrong. They do in fact have the number of rituals that they need to take advantage of their 1 cost reducer that they landed while I was tapped out. So this was definitely a mistake on my part. I should have just let them... I should have just gone to discard and just held up interaction. So this goes on for a while, and then they Grape Shot for 20-something. In the 3rd game, my opponent has to step out after the 2nd turn or so I'm not going to bother showing that. This was a tie match, essentially. Alright, 2nd match. Keeping a pretty good hand of 3 lands. Thoughtseize Ashiok. Thoughteize reveals Merfolk. So they are on Merfolk. We take Lord of Atlantis, leaving them with, I believe, a Lord and a Harbinger, as well as a bunch of lands. I'm not sure why I played the Steam Ends tap there, but it's fine. They just played a Silver Gold deck, which I'm definitely not going to ultimate price. Instead, I'm going to play Ashiok and start plussing. They can play a Lord and take Ashiok to 2, but they cannot kill Ashiok this turn. Instead of doing any of that, they go Spreading Seas Curse Catcher. So this is a little bit problematic because now they can kill Ashiok if they do play a Lord here. In fact, they play Marrow Regery, but I have the ultimate price for it, so that's not too much of an issue. They play another Curse Catcher, I censor it, and they attack an Ashiok, etc. We're going to keep playing this Ashiok game for a while where they're going to be attacking into it and I'm going to be plussing it up. I'll negate a Spreading Seas since that's one of the only things to negate at this stage of the game. Ashiok goes down to 2. They play a Lord, I play Snapcaster, go for the throat, or Ultimate Price rather, on the Lord, and block a Harbinger. Ashiok goes back up to 4. Now I have drawn Mystical Teachings, which should get me way back in this game as I pick up a Cryptic Command. And to that they scoop. Alright, next match. Keep a hand of land, bounce land, and some interaction against what appears to be blue-white. They're playing Sleight of Hand into Spirebluff Canal. Oh, and they've suspended Greater Gargadon. So this indicates to me that this is a Restore Balance deck, and they confirm that by playing As Foretold. Now I have to keep up a lot of interaction, basically forever, because otherwise we just get balanced out of the game and lose all our lands, and they have As Foretold. So they're going to Snapcaster for Sleight of Hand, and I'm going to Condescend that for 2. Note that they've already used As Foretold this turn on Sleight of Hand, so I'm not too concerned about that. Greater Gargadon's still ticking down. They'll start removing lands for Greater Gargadon, which I think is very ambitious, into 4 open mana. And they will actually just go Restore Balance into my Counter Squall. Now this is a choice I don't really understand. They anticipate here. They could have anticipated before sacrificing all their lands, and I think that they should have in order to see if they actually would have an answer for my answer. That said, they do not, and Restore Balance gets negated. They are down to no lands, but they do still have As Foretold, so they're not completely out of this game yet. They tapped As Foretold, I'll Spell Pierce it, so they only have 1, thankfully. And now I still need to hold up Mana Leak, because I still never know when they're going to have a second Restore Balance, which gets Mana Leaked, thankfully. And at this point, I've run out of interaction for Mana Leak, so I will play Gonti, Lord of Luxury. And I know that their Greater Gargadon's coming off suspend, but I don't really care about that, because Gonti has Death Touch, and Gargadon does not have Trample. Worth noting, Gonti has picked up a Snapcaster Mage here, which is rather nice. They attack directly into Gonti for some reason. I'll go ahead and block. And Thoughtseize is finding their Mana Leak. So they're now Hellbent, which I see as a good time to play Solemn. The odds of them picking up a third Restore Balance seem kind of slim. I don't even know if this deck plays 3, and they scooped that. In game 2, we keep a kind of questionable hand of Young Pyromancer, Shadow of Doubt, and red lands, but we managed to find a blue land off the scry and Inquisition them, which they Spell Pierce. So no information for us. I'll play a Pyromancer. Next turn I'll be leaving up Shadow of Doubt. The Steel Hellkite is in here for the very long games when it can potentially take out all of their As Foretolds. I don't know if it's good, but my sideboard's like really bad. Anyway, they crack Flooded Strand. Shadow of a Doubt fulfills its role as basically just Sinkhole that draws you a card. And Pyromancer makes it even better. Draw another land off that, which will continue making Condescend good. They do have 2 Ancestral Visions sticking down, which is something I have to be aware of. But at this stage of the game, there's not much I can do about it. Draw a Snapcaster, which is very nice. And given that they have passed back, I'm just going to flash back Shadow of a Doubt for no value, just to keep this life pressure on there down to 10, and I'm going to put 6 power on board right now, so swinging for 6. Taking them to 4, and given that I have Condescend, they have to find a couple answers pretty much now, and I don't think such an answer exists in this deck except for Supreme Verdict. And since they've tapped a mana for Serum Vision, Supreme Verdict is not an option. And they'll play As Foretold and concede. Alright, last match. I see a hand of a number of lands, Mana Leak, Thing in the Ice, and Cryptic Command, which is obviously very good. Find Hero's Downfall, in case this is a creature deck, and in fact it is. My opponent plays Devoted Druid, which puts them on Vizier Druid combo, wherein they try to make infinite mana and do some cool stuff with that. Given that fact, I cannot play Thing in the Ice here because they could have the Vizier and just go off right now. And in fact they do. After giving their Devoted Druid protection from white, they play a Vizier of Remedies, and I Mana Leak it. Now, something to note here is that this land, Sidiri Step, is really only ever seen in Nightfall lists. That is Knight of the Reliquary and the landfall card that untaps Knight of the Reliquary. This would be the last thing they find after giving their knight something like +18/+18. They would find this to make it unblockable. So now I suspect that not only are they Devoted Druid Vizier combo, they are also Nightfall combo at the same time. And they play Duskwatch Recruiter, so they did have the win here, wherein they could pour their infinite green mana into Duskwatch, finding any number of creatures to kill me. I'm going to Hero's Downfall the Devoted Druid before they can do anything with it, before they can use it on Duskwatch, and before Duskwatch can flip. Now my opponent plays Knight of the Reliquary, which confirms my belief that this is a Knight of the Reliquary deck. And I'm just going to toss out Consuming Vapors, keep them from getting card advantage, and it'll flash back for value. They choose to hold back Knight of the Reliquary and cast Kitchen Finks, unfortunately. Makes the Consuming Vapors much worse. But it still is some life gain and takes the counter off, or rather, puts the counter on. And now I'm going to play Thing in the Ice and Ashiok, and this is kind of unfortunate because Knight of the Reliquary is definitely large enough to kill Thing in the Ice, or Ashiok. So Ashiok's not very good here, and I can't keep the pressure off it the whole game, so I'm just going to let it die and block the Kitchen Finks. The good news now being that I have Cryptic Command that I can keep up. Unfortunately, the bad news is that they have Gavany Township, which means that they can start removing counters from the Kitchen Finks and putting them on Knight of the Reliquary. So this is getting pretty bad pretty fast in terms of their beat sticks and my lack of answers to them. On their attack, I'm actually just going to block the Kitchen Finks to take the damage. The reason for this is that I'm hoping that they activate Gavany, which they do, because that allows me to Cryptic Command to bounce the Knight and draw a card. Unfortunately, this does mean Thing in the Ice dies, but that's less important to me than finding Young Pyromancer and Repeal. Good news here is that I can now start creating a nice stream of blockers for the Knight. And as they play a second Kitchen Finks, I'm glad I did. So, Repeal picks up the Knight, and Pyromancer makes a token, and I find Izzet Signet. Izzet Signet's good, but I'm going to need a very specific window to actually be able to kill a Kitchen Finks with it, given the Gavany Township. I'm going to keep taking that damage until I can find a way to stabilize. They go Knight, I'm going to go Snapcaster Cryptic, I believe, because this seems like not a thing I want to stick around. And now I draw into Electrolyze, which is pretty awesome here. So I'm going to go ahead and Electrolyze, pinging down Vizier and the player, and then Izzet Charm a Kitchen Finks, and then go for the Throat It when it comes back. And now I'm actually in a position where I can start attacking, because I have a significant number of blockers. So I'm just going to swing in for 6, taking them to 18. Now Gavany doesn't really matter because I can keep blocking forever. And Solemn makes that situation even more certain. So swing in for, I believe, 8 this time. And they'll certainly put a counter on their creature, but that doesn't really matter. They've essentially stopped drawing cards that can threaten to kill me. And that's one of the problems with this deck. It doesn't top deck particularly well. You have a lot of creatures that are just sort of guys and don't really get value. So I'll attack in with everything and try to take them to 2. They'll block, of course, and pump with Gavany. That's fine by me. I have Far and Away, so there's really no chance of them coming back into this game. At their end step, I'll go ahead and Thought Scour to make a token, and they actually scoop to that alone because they realize that I now have enough creatures to kill them through their creatures. Okay, so that was game 1, I believe. Now game 2 against this hybrid green-white combo list. Keep a hand with Inquisition and Repeal. They play a bird. I'll go ahead and Inquisition their Duskwatch Recruiter, I believe, leaving them with Vizier Remedies and Viscera Seer. And this is interesting because now they actually have 3 combos going on. They have Nightfall, they have the Devoted Druid combo, and if they pick up a creature with Persist, they now have Infinite Life. Anyway, so I'm kind of just sitting here, haven't really found more lands. But I'm going to go ahead and Hero's Downfall the Vizier, I believe, just to stem the bleeding somewhat given the Gavany. Find another land, which lets me keep up both Condescend and Mana Leak, or in this case Repeal for the Viscera's here, so I can stop dying quite as much. And they're going to play Devoted Druid, which I will Mana Leak. Thankfully, that was a good sequence of events there. And because they tap the bird, of course, they can't replay the Viscera's here that turn. They'll play that now, however, and use that remaining mana to play Kitchen Finks, which I find is a good Condescend target. Those things got pretty annoying last game. I'm happy to get one of them out of the way. Condescend finds me a Snapcaster on top. And that's the interesting thing about this deck, is that even though all the cards are one-ofs, it does still have enough redundancy that you can pretty much find what you need when you need it, given the amount of filtering it has. So I'm going to go ahead and Hero's Downfall the Bird and block the Viscera's here. This leaves them with only 1 card in hand and 4 lands against Cryptic Command, Spell Pierce, far and away, which I see as a pretty good situation. They have Eternal Witness, but I again have Cryptic Command, so Eternal Witness will not resolve. Find Duress off the top, Duress just to see what they have. They have Vizier of Remedies. I don't really care about Vizier of Remedies, but they will play that and Noble Hierarch here. Find Time to Far and away. I think I put the Noble Hierarch back in their hand and kill the Vizier. And unfortunately, I do stop finding answers right now, but I do have Shadow of Doubt to try to get more velocity. And they have Collected Company, which is perfect Spell Pierce target. Note that I knew they had Collected Company, given that they didn't play their Noble Hierarch when they had the chance last turn. Otherwise, I might have cast Shadow of Doubt for no value just to find something to play. Instead, I pick up Cut to Ribbons, which is actually kind of close to killing them at this stage. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage on board. Murderous Cut will hopefully extend that as they keep failing to find creatures that do things. Ashiok is finding Eternal Witness here, which is fantastic. We have a pretty stocked graveyard for Eternal Witness, and they play their own Eternal Witness to get back, in this case, Devoted Druid, which they then play. I assume this means they have the combo in their hand, so this is a good time to go ahead and hardcast Murderous Cut with no Delve to kill Devoted Druid. Ashiok is going to find my own Devoted Druid, or rather my own Eternal Witness to find Snapcaster, to find Cryptic Command, and I have Lightning Bolt up, so there is no chance my opponent's going to win this game. I'm just going to bolt the Eternal Witness to show them that I don't care about what they have, and I'm just going to start attacking them. Ashiok finds yet more creatures, and we still have Cryptic Snapcaster. I'm going to go ahead and Snapcaster bolt them, rather than playing Cryptic, just because they are on a very hard clock now. They get down to 4. And I flash back the Cut to Ribbons. And here's where things get kind of awkward. In casting this, I sort of messed up and didn't sack the Polluted Delta, so I'm not dealing 8 damage, I'm dealing 7 damage. And this matters in exactly the case when they have Collected Company for exactly 2 Kitchen Finks, and they cast Collected Company, and they hit exactly 2 Kitchen Finks. So my slight misplay there has prevented me from winning this turn. That said, they still go to 1. I still have 2 attackers. I still have an Ashiok, which now put down a Duskwatch Recruiter, and they realize that they cannot win. Okay, so that was a number of games with Grixis Highlander control in Modern, against some pretty real decks. The Devoted Druid deck seems pretty real, the Storm deck is pretty real, Merfolk has definitely been a fixture of Modern for a while. So I think these were pretty reasonable games, all in the tournament practice room, and I'm kind of happy with what happened here, despite this deck continuing to confuse me with how it continues to work. But that was Grixis control in Modern, but with only 1 of each card. Have a good one.